Welcome back to another tutorial, guys. My name is Blessing and I'll be showing you how I make this beautiful bubu gown. Okay, so it's a draped cowl bubu with yoke. Alright, so if this is the first time you're seeing my channel, I welcome you to my channel, and please turn on the notification bell so that next time I post a new video you will be notified. And if you're a returning subscriber, thanks for always coming back. I really and sincerely do appreciate you. So guys, let's go right into the video. So this is a fabric we are going to be using. It's a Mikado fabric. Okay, it's a liquid Mikado fabric, and I have 3 yards of it, and I have half yards of the sequence fabric and half yard of lining fabric. So I'll be using this pattern paper, or this piece of paper, as a little illustration before we go right into the main cotton. So this little one is going to serve as our yoke. So the first thing I want to measure or to mark out is the shoulder measurement, then the neckline. Then I'm going to measure the length I want for the yoke, then I'll connect to the shoulder like so. Alright, so this is going to serve as our yoke. Then I'm going to go ahead to cut it out, okay, because our yoke has to be ready before the main bodice. So this is the yoke, and I've also cut out the neckline. So this is how our yoke is going to be looking like. So the next thing we are going to do now is the front bodice, and to do the front bodice we are going to be repeating the same thing, which is the neckline and also the shoulder measurement. Then we'll add about few inches, so that I'll be showing on the main fabric. So the length I have here, I'm going to be adding few inches to it. If you're going to be cutting on the fabric, we'll be adding 10 inches. Okay, for example, if the yoke is by 17, you're going to be adding 10 inches to it. Okay, then we'll mark out our hip line, then also mark out our knee measurement. Okay, so that will serve as our knee measurement. This is just a rough illustration so that you can understand better. All right, so that's our yoke, then plus 10 inches. Okay, then I'm going to connect from where we have the 10 inches. I'm going to connect to the shoulder extension. Okay, because this is where we are going to be placing the yoke, and that part is already excess, you know, so that is where we are going to have our plate to fit into the yoke area. All right, so the next thing now is for us to measure our hip measurement, and we'll add 4 inches for ease. So whatever we have on our hip, we are going to measure straight down. So from the knee line, we are going to connect down to the hip like so, or rather we are going to connect up to the hip like so. You can see, then that part is where we are going to have our arm opening. So I'm just going to cut this out so that you can see what we are going to be having on the fabric. So that is the part that is going to be pleated, and after it is being pleated, it is going to fit into the yoke that we cut out initially. You see what we have? You see what we have, guys? So this is basically what we are supposed to have at the end. Okay, so for the back, we are going to have our neckline as well, then our shoulder measurement without any extension. Okay, our shoulder to shoulder measurement without extension, then the sleeve length, then our neck depth is going to be 1.5. Then we'll mark our hip measurement now, no yoke for the back, hip measurement and knee measurement. Then we are going to be having our full length. Okay, so no extra 10 inches for the front, for the back piece as well. Put that, take note of that, please. Okay, so since we don't have extra 10 inches, so definitely our back piece is going to be our normal length of fabric. All right, so I'm going to connect just the way we did for the front piece. From the knee line, I'm going to connect like a curve like so to the hip line. That is how it's going to form the cowl for the sides. Okay, so we'll cut out, and this is what we should have for the back, this is what we should have for the front, and you can see we have the length already equal after pleating. okay, because the sides are also going to be pleated by the time we are joining then the yoke. So now I have 3 yards of the liquid Mikado, and I cut out 1 yard precisely for the length for the back. Alright, because the length of the fabric is by 60 and the person I'm sewing this material for is 58 inches. The length we need is 58, so the 2 inches is for the M allowance, okay, the M allowance, while the remaining 2 yard I'm going to invert it. I'm going to be using the 2 yard as the length of the front. The remaining 2 yard I'm going to invert it and use the whole 2 yard as the length for the front. That's our 60. That's the 58 plus 2 inches for the M, then the 10 inches extra, which is 70 inches, and you know 2 yard is going to be 72, so the other 2 inches is just going to be cut out because that is going to be an extra allowance. I hope you understand. So just like the way we did the yoke, while we did that on the piece of paper, I'm going to be using this lining as our yoke now. So I'm going to cut out the lining first, then I'll transfer to the sequence. Okay, you know I said we are going to cut out our yoke first before the main bodice. So now I'm going to be cutting out the neckline, and the neckline I'm going to be using is 3.5. That's the neck width, while the depth for the neckline is going to be 4 inches. Okay, so the neck width and neck depth totally depend on your preference, but I think this is basically okay. So for the shoulder we have 8.5, that's 17 inches divided by 2. Then the length of the yoke is going to be 17 inches, which I marked over there. Okay, 17 inches. That's 16 inches is the length. That's it. I'm using the half length measurement, 16 inches, and I'm adding 1 inch as our sewing allowance. That is why it is 17 inches. So this is a curve I'm going to be cutting out. Alright, just like the way we did on the piece of paper. So now I'm going to go ahead to cut out the neckline and also the curve that we already drew on the lining. Okay, so this is what we are going to have, and I'll just go ahead and transfer this on the sequence fabric. So this is me. I folded the sequence into 2 and I placed the lining on it, and I'm cutting it out just the way we have on the lining. Okay, so this is what we are going to have after cutting out. Alright, so the next thing we want to do now is to open this up, and I will go ahead to sew. Okay, I'm going to place the lining on it on the right side of the sequence. Then I'll go ahead to sew the neckline with 1/2 inch. Then I'll top stitch the neckline, then I'll turn it over, and this is what I have. After turning it over, I decided to secure it down just so it doesn't shake or shift. So guys, I'm starting with the front piece just the way we did on the piece of paper. Like I said, I folded the fabric into 2. Okay, and the fabric is folded into 2. This is what we have, though I did not exhaust the whole length of the 60 inches. You know, when you fold by the yard, you have 16 inches. Okay, so instead of it to be by 30, I think I used about 27 or thereabout to fold. Okay, so that we can have a little excess for the scarf and all that. So don't forget the same neckline and the shoulder we are going to cut out. Then we'll add our 3 inches extra, just the way I illustrated on the pattern paper, or on the piece of paper rather. So I added 3 inches from the shoulder measurement. Okay, so now I'm going to measure the length of the yoke, which is supposed to be 16, right? Then I'm going to be adding 10 inches extra. Okay, so if I had 10 inches extra, I'm supposed to have 26 inches. So I'm going to mark out the 26 over there. So that is where the yoke for the main pattern or for the main dress is going to start from, just so we can have room to create our pleats at the front part of the dress. So now from the shoulder, I'm going to measure our hip line. Now our hip line is supposed to be around 26 inches, but because of the 10 inches extra we added, it's not going to be 26 but 36. So I'm going to mark 36 over there. Okay, so that part, that line you're seeing is the hip line. Okay, then the next measurement we are supposed to have is our knee line. Okay, that line you're seeing over there is the hip. So now to mark out our knee line, the shoulder to the knee is supposed to be 40. Okay, but because of the 10 inches extra we have, please let's put that in mind, the 10 inches extra. Because of the 10 inches extra we have, instead of us to mark 14, now we are going to be marking 50. Okay, so that's the 36 for the hip line. Because of the plus 10 we have instead of 26, you can see it on the tape rule. So now we have our 50 inches marked there instead of 40 inches because of the 10 inches extra we have. I hope we understand. If you don't understand, let me know in the comment section so that I can do another explanation probably on the comment section. Thank you. So that's the hip and the knee line. So the rest of the fabric is going to serve as a length. Okay, you know, I told you we are going to have 72 inches. That is because we are using the whole 2 yard as our length. Okay, so now on the hip line, I've measured my hip plus 4 inches extra for ease, which I did on the knee and also at the hem. Then I connected with a straight line like so. So from the knee line, we are going to be connecting to the hip. Okay, so before I do that, I'll be connecting from the yoke plus the 10 inches extra we have. I'll be connecting to the shoulder extension like so. Okay, so this is what you should have. You can have the same shape you have on your yoke or like a V. By the time you sew, it's still going to give you the same shape. Okay, so that's our neck depth. Okay, so for proper understanding, you can decide to use the yoke to cut it out. You can see that is a bit deeper because we already turned the neckline. Okay, so we have 4 inches as our neck depth. So now I'm going to cut out the neckline. Then I'll also cut out the yoke. Okay, so your yoke is going to be cut out from the 10 inches extra we added to the normal length of the yoke. All right, so that is it. So the next thing we want to do now is to go ahead and shape out the cowl part. That's the side of the bubu that is cowl. So that part over there is what we want to create now. So from our knee line, I'm going to connect to the hip. That's our knee. Okay, with a curve like so towards the end of the fold of the fabric. Okay, like so. Okay, because that is the part that is going to give us that cowl effect. Okay, so that is how we are going to cut that. I decided to just draw the line upward just for me to eliminate the selvage part of the fabric. Okay, you can decide to leave yours. It is totally optional. So I'm going to go ahead to cut out just the way we have the pattern drawn on the fabric. Alright guys, so if you have watched to this extent and you're yet to subscribe to my channel, tell me what you're waiting for. No, don't tell me, just subscribe. Okay, so please kindly subscribe for more beautiful tutorials. Okay, so now I've gone ahead to cut out, and this is what we have. So yours should also look like so when you're done cutting. So this is basically what we need for the front pattern. So let's go right into the back piece. So now, like I said earlier, the back piece I cut out just 1 yard. 1 yard is what I cut out for the length of the back, and I folded it into 2 by the length of the fabric. Okay, not by the yard. Okay, so now I have the neck width of 3.5 and the neck depth of 1.5. So our shoulder is going to be 8.5. We are not going to be adding any extra 3 inches. Okay, instead we are going to be adding our sleeve length. Okay, so I'll be adding 9.5, which is just the remaining part of the fabric. If you have up to 10, you can use 10. Okay, so that will serve as our sleeve length. So for the hip measurement now, I have 26 here. We don't have any extra 10 inches for the back, so we'll have our exact measurement for the back piece. We have 26 as our hip measurement, and our knee measurement we have 40 over there. Okay, no extra 10 inches, don't forget. So we're going to be having our hip measurement plus 4 inches, just the way we did for the front piece, and I'm going to do the same to the back piece now. Then I'll connect the lines together like so. So after connecting from the knee line, I'm going to make a curve to the hip and upward like so. So now I'm going to go ahead and cut out. So this is what it looks like. Okay, from the knee line, make a curve to blend into the hip line like so. So this is basically what we need. I'm going to go ahead to cut out the neckline for the back. Then I'm going to measure the arm opening. I'll be using 10 as my arm opening. Then I'm going to notch, okay, just so I know where my sleeve is going to start from. Alright, so I'm going to go downward now to cut out the curve that we have over there. Alright, so this is basically what we need for the pattern drafting or for the cutting of this bubu. Alright, so I'm going to place the other part that was cut out from the front piece of the fabric to cut out our facing. We already know how to do that. So this is the facing I have for the back. So for the front piece, I'm also marking out the arm opening. Okay, the arm opening of 10 inches. Alright, so guys, it's time for us to sew. I'm going to open up the front piece so that we can go ahead to start our sewing proper. Okay, I hope you're enjoying this video as we go. I'm just trying my best. I try my best for this video not to be too lengthy, so I can grab what you need to get as quick as possible. Alright, so this is the part that is going to be plaited to the yoke. You can see the effect. This is how it's going to be created. Okay, so I'm going to just go ahead and combine the two sides together like so, and I want to come down by about 7 inches. That's towards the chest line. So that is where we are going to be starting our pleat from. Okay, so that the pleat is not just everywhere. I'll sew straight down from the pleat, from the part I have the notch, I'll pleat. I'll also come to this side, I'll sew straight down to the notch, then from that part I'll pleat. So this is what we have. Alright, I'll sew now, then we are going to achieve this. This is what we achieved after sewing, just like I explained. Then for the back piece, I've gone ahead to turn the neckline with our facing. Okay, so I'm going to use the facing now to turn the front side of the neckline. Okay, you know how we cover that up. Okay, you pick the two necklines together, then you use the facing to cover it up, then we'll sew down before we can go ahead to probably hem the neckline, or we use our hemming gum. Alright, so after sewing the shoulder, the next thing we want to do is to sew the side. And to sew the side, I would advise you start your sewing from the hem of the dress. Okay, don't sew from the upper part, sew from the hem. Okay, so that the knee side and the straight parts will be matching, because the front is going to be a bit excess. Okay, so that part that is going to be pleated, you can see that the front part is a bit excess. I'm going to flip over to the front side so that you can see the part that is excess. Okay, so now this is the front part. Okay, the back part is below and this is the front part. So from where we have our hip line, that's our hip line over there. Okay, I'm using the pin to hold it together. Okay, and from the notch where our armhole is, our arm opening starts from, down to where we have our hip line is where you are going to pleat, so that it matches with the pleat we have on the yoke. I hope you understand. So that is what we are going to do to the both sides. So after that, this is what we have sewing from the down part, notch the knee area place. Then this is the pleat we have from the notch of the arm opening down to the hip line, so that it matches to the front yoke. So this is how it looks at the front area. You can see how beautiful this is looking already. I'm already liking this fabric. Okay, I like the shiny effect. All right, so I'm going to turn over to the wrong side again so that we can sew the band for the sleeve. That's the sleeve extension. So from the notch, I have 9 inches now, because I already sewed down the shoulder line and it has reduced. So I have 9 inches on fold. Okay, I have 9 inches on fold for the arm circumference. That's 18. Then the length of the sequence, that's the length of the band, is 7 inches. Okay, 7 inches. 9 inches on fold, so that it can go round the arm opening. Then 7 inches for the length. Okay, I wanted to fold it into 2, but I don't want the sequence to be too harsh on the person's skin, so I'll just go ahead to I'm going to go ahead to just fold the end of the sequence. Okay, after folding, I'm going to sew it down. Then that part that has been pinned will also be sewn. After that, the next thing we are going to do is to fold the hem of the dress, and voila, our bubu is ready. I hope you like what you see. So guys, this is what we have. You can see how beautiful this is looking. Wow, I really spent a lot of time shooting this video and even the editing part. Okay, because I don't want any parts to be missing for proper understanding. Okay, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to give this video a giant thumbs up and make your good comment. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.